Bonus!
What the hell is going on? Look out! Piper, now!
Here are these words, here are the rhyme.
Crew, Piper, Page, look!
Hear now the words of the witches.
Keep it going, Phoebe.
Hear now the words of the witches.
The words of the witches. The words of the witches.
Crew, Piper, Page, keep chanting.
Hear now the words of the
Keep
witches.
it going, Phoebe. Keep it going.
Hear now the words of the
Keep chanting.
Words of the witches.
Hear now the words.
The words of the Finish the story.
Crew, Piper, Page, look! Keep chanting.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Keep chanting.
What ass backward spell did you guys cast?
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Piper, Page, look!
The words of the witches. The words of the witches. The words of the witches. Hear now the words of the witches.
Keep chanting.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Words of the Witches, bonus episode 3, P3 VIP. It's New Year's Eve today that this episode is being released, so what better to talk about than a nightclub? P3 was the name of a successful nightclub in San Francisco started by Piper Halliwell and her sisters in 1999. The club was named after the power of three in honor of Piper and her sisters, Prue and Phoebe, and later Paige. Over the years that the club was run by Piper, it went through several ups and downs, though it was generally a popular and successful nightclub, and at times the only source of income for the sisters. Various magical and demonic events took place at P3, and it was a regular hangout for the sisters themselves as well. And my guest this week is Janine. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, and I'm episode number 3, and 3 is my favorite number, so that's good.
3 is my favorite number too. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
Actually, it's 33, but still 3.
Well, you know, what makes 33 your favorite number?
This is a totally off-topic story.
Okay.
But when I was in New York City, wanted to go see the Rosie O'Donnell show because my favorite Broadway musical, Mamma Mia, was playing on the Rosie O'Donnell show. And I picked the number 33, which you would assume would never get in because Rosie O'Donnell was at like the height. Everybody wanted to see that show. And we were the last ones that got in with number 33.
Wow.
It's always been kind of favorite. And then I actually discovered Charmed after that. So I felt that 3 should be my number. So.
Perfect. I love that. And which takes me to my next question. I ask this to all my guests that come on. How did you discover Charmed?
So when I first moved to Vegas, I moved to Vegas from New York City. I was working from home for my New York company. So working from home in those days was super weird compared to now. But I would keep the TV on in the background just for background noise. And TNT was what I left it on. So I discovered it really randomly just by having it on in the background. And then when days were slow, I started paying attention to the show in the background. And then I just really started getting into it from there. I didn't really know anyone in Vegas, so I kind of felt that Charmed was my comfort, was my little sense of community while I didn't know anyone where I was and I was working from home. So
I always love like hearing how everybody's story, you know, how they came to it, and it's neat that it was like the comfort for you. I love that.
it was. Being in a new city and not knowing anyone, it was definitely what got me through.
Yeah, I always think about moving to a new city, and then I always chicken out. So maybe one of these days I'll get to do. Yeah, I'm here in Wisconsin, so it's been here my whole life, and
I definitely had cheese when I was there. I was the child that would not eat anything unless cheese was on top of it. So definitely had cheese in Wisconsin.
well, good. We got some good cheese there. And I discovered you through Thomas's podcast, and you met doing conventions and stuff. So what's your history with like the convention scene?
Yeah, I think I met Thomas originally on Twitter because some of them met him at a prior convention and kind of brought us into our little group chat. So actually maybe even on the group chat, I met him first. But I have to check my list, but how many I've actually been to now. But I started going to conventions in 2014. September 2014 in Nashville. I didn't know anyone in the Charmed community at that point. So I was on Twitter and I just reached out to one person, that's Emily, that seemed like she knew a bunch of the people and said, hi, I'm going to this convention alone. Can I hang out with you guys? So I flew by myself to the first one, Nashville's Wizard World 2014. I've been to 17 since that are, all of them had Holly, some had others, but all of those 17 Holly was in attendance at. So pretty much I went in 2014 September and then January 15. And then where I met Thomas was Paris, March 2016 is where I met him in person and a bunch of. So we kind of started this group chat, and I got to meet a lot of the people. We started that group chat, I think, right after Nashville, who I met a lot of people there. And then we brought in people from all over the world. And so I got to meet a lot of them when I went to Paris for that convention. And that was a half Charmed, half Buffy convention.
Oh, that was like the werewolves and vampires one, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
I've
was.
seen Buffy, so I was completely lost on all sides of that. But
Have you still not seen Buffy?
I don't have any desire to. I don't know if that's wrong, but I don't have any desire to see it. So no, I haven't.
I do find that very refreshing because so many people are like huge Buffy like fans over Charmed. I'm like, no. And I've seen it like occasionally while it was on because it was on kind of the same time Charmed was, and I've seen it Charmed on every episode on original air date, so it was the kind of same circle. But I only recently just kind of started watching Buffy through. I'm like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't hit me the same way Charmed does, but.
Yeah, I mean, we went to this cocktail party and we were at the table. They wanted to put an interpreter at each table, so like you can only have I think 9 people at your table, and we're like, we all speak English. We don't want an interpreter. We all want to sit together. So there was 10 of us at this table, and each of the guests would come to our table and talk. So because most of us were not Buffy fans, a few of us had seen it, but not. So anytime a Buffy person came over, we would play heads up with them because we didn't really know what to talk about because none of us had any real Buffy knowledge. So we play other than Charisma, who we did have like a normal conversation
Yeah.
with. When they would come over, we would play heads up, and it was super fun. That's what we would do, and then the charm people came, and we'd have a normal conversation. So
Cool. Yeah, I've done conventions, but I've been late to the game with the Charmed. The one I was supposed to go to was the one that got canceled, the London one.
yes, that was a messy one. Yes,
It was a messy one, and I was super excited to finally go to a Charmed convention and see Charmed people. And I still went to London anyway, but
So did I was supposed to be there as well. I still went to London. I'm a huge Celine Dion fan, and it just happened to be that she was performing the same weekend, so I still got to do that.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I know Demetrius asked me to come see him dance. He was dancing at a bar somewhere. I'm like, I'm in Heathrow. I'm way far away, so I'm not going to, but it's fine. But do you know Wayne from Prescott Manor?
I do, yes.
I stayed with him for a little bit while I was there, which was nice. So
Okay, yeah, because Dimitri stayed. No, he stayed with Mark, I think. So
yeah.
I hung out with them at Gay Pride.
That was happening. That was happening too. I was there. Yes.
A lot of fun. So we did that
Crazy.
instead of the convention, which was a whole lot of fun. So
Yeah.
that I was with Dimitri most of that day.
Cool. Well, I guess we can get started with the topic, the P3 topic of this episode. Considering you're like a big Holly fan, I think this is pretty perfect for you.
This is true, yes.
What makes you such a big Holly fan?
Where do I start? I don't know.
I know.
So when I was watching the show originally, she was the one I was most drawn to. And I actually made the comment to, well, my now ex, but at the time we would watch it together. And I actually made the comment to him that it was going to be my goal to meet her, that I was going to meet her. So I made that goal, I think 2004. No, sorry, I didn't start watching their show in 2006, so that's not true. Let me start over. I made that goal in 2006. So 2014 finally happened. Well, I tend to like the sarcastic, sassy ones, which definitely her character was. But I think underlying, I could tell that she had a really good heart. I was drawn to, and I kind of felt that everything she did was really authentic in that show. Like I really enjoyed just her self coming through. Not that I had met her, but it was just, you could tell who she was as a person coming through the character. So I was just drawn to her from the beginning in the show. So, and she and I think are a lot opposites in a lot of ways, but I was drawn to her the most.
Yeah, she definitely has like a certain warmth, and even though she's sassy and crazy, there's always that underlying warmth, and that's nice that it's definitely seen on the show, and when you meet her in person, it's definitely there too. So,
For sure. Yeah. I mean, she always jokes that she has a cold heart, but I think she has one of the like sweetest, most loving hearts that I know. So
mhm. Yes. Oh, all right. Well, P3, we first see P3 in season 2. Like that's when it first comes to fruition.
correct.
Do you remember what it was called before P3?
Before.
You didn't expect a quiz. I know. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. No, I feel really bad saying that, but no.
It was called the Industrial Zone.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember
Sorry.
that like sign?
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was thinking that maybe there was another name that there was like on the paper.
Oh, I mean like something that she was talking about. Oh, okay. Like in the show, people calling it. Okay.
I do remember the Nashville Stone sign. No, I was thinking that maybe like there was another name that the Piper character had for it that I totally missed. But
Okay.
no, I do remember that.
Gotcha. Yes, Industrial Zone. And did you remember? It's funny because when they showed like the outside shot of like the Industrial Zone, they had like SWA Properties, which is where Phoebe worked. Isn't that kind of a fun little tie-in?
It
I always
was,
loved that.
yeah, it was like predicting the future.
Yes. Oh. But yeah, that was when she was trying to get a loan. She was dating that banker guy, and at first he approved it, but then he's like, "No, because I got hurt because of you." And
And you didn't see who did it when she actually did, but she couldn't tell you because
it's like,
it's a
I know
dead.
you're lying.
I know. How could you not see? I don't know.
I was in shock. I was just blinded with shock. Yeah.
It was a dead demon. What do you want from me? It's not our
Yeah.
dead warlock, actually. But
Yeah. And she was kind of like seeing him, which was weird too. Like, are you dating him to get the loan type of thing?
yeah, well, and that's what Holly always says, right? That she didn't enjoy that Piper was kind of slutty in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, that was an odd character choice, I think, or direction for that character to be like, she's going to be kissing the banker to get this loan. It was weird.
Right. I mean, it was a weird time for her and Leo too, because it's like they have it established that they're in love, but they can't be together. So she's like, "Well, I'm gonna move on, but not really," because it was weird.
Banker guy, because I want to get a club. I don't know.
Yeah. But he denies it eventually, and that's when Prue and Phoebe put a second mortgage on the home, and they get that loan for her. Yay! So after that, we have the big break. What gets P3 on the map is Dishwalla.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because the only reason they were there was because of Leo and the whole magical Mazalin
Right.
hubbub.
Yeah, because he did a spell on the manager, so
Yeah.
that he would pick P3 for the band to play.
Do you think that if without this magical intervention, do you think P3 would have been successful, or how long do you think it would have taken to be successful?
I think it would have taken I don't know. I think it would have taken longer. It's gonna be hard though. I mean, okay, you're this random little club. You seem like you're in the middle of nowhere because there looks like there's absolutely nothing around this club.
Very industrial, like I guess like why it's called Industrial Zone.
So, it's got to be difficult to promote this club that's in the middle of nowhere to these bands to come play at. So I think it would have taken some time. I think she would have needed a big break. She's lucky that magic was involved, even though she was pissed off that it happened. But
Yes.
I feel
Be
like
grateful.
it would have had a struggle, I think, and that guy who they got the loan from would have profited big time. But
Oh yeah, because I feel like it would have taken at least the better part of a year to get really established. Because this was like what you got into the episode 1, and then in episode 4, you're already like, hey, I'm a success. Like,
yeah, definitely would have taken some time. I would like to think it would have been successful at a time, but getting big bands booked is not an easy thing.
No.
Especially for somebody that no one knows. I mean, it's not like she was in the music industry. She was a chef that became restaurant manager, so that doesn't have connections. So I'm gonna say it would have been a little hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the next like real big thing that happens is when it becomes the spot.
Well, the spot.
Oh, the spot.
Although that ending of that episode of it's my favorite. One of my favorite scenes is that episode. So
Exactly. That whole episode. I mean, well, not the whole episode because that's scary things are happening and people are being shrunk down and stuff. But
putting play, you know.
yeah. But like the whole like P3 arc of that episode is so powerful because it was an allegory for like what we're going for as an audience too, but for the characters, but for us as well because of the whole change with Prue, you know, and because we didn't want things to change, and that was about the change, and then we had fears that things wouldn't go, you know, they would go off the rails with Paige. You know, we didn't know anything about this character coming in, and we had the whole familiarity was like shaking things up, and we were kind of nervous, and we were kind of broken by the loss of Prue ourselves, and like that whole episode, you know, like kind of ties up back in that we're, you know, we'll be okay. So
Yeah, because there's the scene where the sign falls down and she's like, it's okay, P3 doesn't exist
anymore. Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, it's, can you fix it? Well, then fix it when he heals the sign. And
Yes.
that little scene is really sweet.
Yes. It is a beautiful moment. Although I'm still very confused by Leo's powers to heal a sign. But that's besides the point.
It's magic. It's magic. It's nice.
It's magic.
It's like a blanket for all things. It's magic. Covers all.
But you know, it's funny about the spot because my uncle calls his basement bar the G spot.
Oh my.
But I thought it's funny. Well, I think because our last name starts with a G, so it's like. But I'm like, oh, it's interesting that like I see a parallel. What I love about the episode is where like he's like Piper's like, you're assuming because I'm not tall, tattooed, and big breasted that I'm not important. That's a bad assumption because I own this club, which makes me a P3 VIP. I was today years old when I realized that Piper doesn't say P3 VIP. She says VVVIP, meaning very, very, very important person. And here, my young self just assumed that she was saying P3, and I was wrong. So, there you go. I learned something new. Back to the show.
I do. The guy's like, she looks so little in that scene too, because the guy's like giant, guarding
The bouncer guy.
Giant, but he looks so like their height difference makes it even better because she's just like fighting this guy, and she looks so tiny against this guy.
Yeah, she's like, you do not scare me, giant man. And then we had like a few variations, like alternate P3s. Like in Centennial Charmed, it was kind of destroyed.
Yeah, or not. Yeah, non-existent. You know?
Non-existent. Yeah, it's like, you know, after Prue died, we stopped caring about it.
Mm-hmm. The homeless guy sleeping in there.
Yeah. And then there's the time it was a strip club.
That's true too.
But yeah, that's when Sheridan was a stripper, which was super weird.
It was super creepy. I was not ready for Sheridan to be a stripper.
Oh my gosh.
Daryl was opposite guy.
Yeah, too funny. Do you have what are some of your favorite P3 moments, your most memorable P3 moments?
Well, I've said this. I say this all. So season 2 is my ultimate season. It's my favorite. So most of them are going to be from that. But animal pragmatism. When she gets earlier in the episode when she sees the Valentine card, and then in P3 when she finds Leo's card and opens it, and Piper opens it and sees that it is that card that she saw in the store and reads the note. And then she walks over to kiss him. And, you know, as the audience, you think it's really happening. When she walks over to kiss him, that whole scene, and then it pulls out and she's just imagining it in her head. That's definitely one of my favorite scenes. It's just like, Dan's upstairs getting the card with her, and she's just dreaming of kissing. Oh gosh. I really like the love triangle in season 2, and I really like Leo fighting for Piper in season 2. That's some of the reasons why I really like season 2. So that give me a sign. when basically she admits that when she goes, I never needed a sign, just tell me where my heart lies, was when she makes her decision based on, I mean, those relationships, and that really was P3 heavy, because you figure she admits, like, in her little smile when she sees him across the room, like, he is who I want to be with. And then the breakup scene with Dan, which is super heartbreaking, but super lovely in a way too. Like, I thought that breakup scene was really well done, and their little bit with
Yeah, it's interesting that she does it at P3, but
she does.
yeah.
But I felt that season 2, all the little big relationship moments seem to happen.
It did.
Because you also have Heartbreak City, which is randomly one of my most favorite episodes, which is super random episode to be one of my favorites, I feel. But there's that whole fight scene where Dan accuses her of being in love with Leo, and she throws out the necklace and throws it at him. It's also P3. So for some reason, those relations, and she tells Leo that she chooses him at P3.
Yeah. Huh.
It's all there. I don't know.
And I never even thought about those connections before. That's so fascinating. Yeah. P3 was kind of like a comfort place for her because, I feel like maybe the manor was like more of a group environment where P3 was like, this is my spot.
It's Piper. I mean, it's Piper's bar. It's Piper's bar, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, so she tells Leo that she's going to be with him. Of course, then she tells him they can't because Dan's on his business trip, and then counting the swizzle sticks, and he drops the whole box of the swizzle sticks. This is one of my favorite scenes as well. So yeah, there's definitely, I think those are kind of the season 2 Cranberries performing, which is season 2, and them all dance, it's Piper and Dan's first date, and all of them dancing with their guys. It's the cutest dance scene to the Cranberries as well.
I love the Cranberries. Just my imagination. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone seems so happy in that scene. It's just a wonderful moment.
I think it's just their real joy too. I think they were so happy to have the Cranberries on their set and getting just to enjoy them performing right in front of them. So I think it's characters and actors are also just, the happiness is just all there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cranberries is, I think, definitely my favorite band performance of all of them. I have other favorites, but I think that one.
Cool. See, some of my favorite moments, P3 moments, were Music to My Ears with all the warlocks in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the strobe lights. I'll keep the warlocks from blinking.
Yeah. I also like Piper when I forget her client's name, when she scares her and she drops the potion and she goes, "Oh, fireworks!"
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, that was a fun time. I liked Piper's high school reunion at the bar, or at P3.
Yeah.
It's interesting. P3 was like a lot of different things. Like, it was a high school reunion place. It was like a daycare. It was like just everything. A catch all.
Yeah. 2 baby showers, I think.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I own it. Why not use it?
Well, Coyote Piper, I mean, how could you not? That between, I really like the scene where they possess her and the classmate is like, "Won't you put away this trash?" And Shannon, like, Prue's like, "You can stand up to her." And she's like, "I
I
can't."
can?
You
No, bitch, move the trays yourself. Yes.
Yeah. She's like, "The bitch was a bit much." Oh.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, Coyote Piper, and of course the dance scene. I mean, that's epic.
Mm-hmm. Were there any bands that you would have liked to see perform at P3?
I hadn't actually thought about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there bands that you wish could have? I don't think I've ever really thought about that. And also, I think because I didn't start watching until 2006.
Yeah, right after it ended, huh?
I think I actually started watching it in January of 2006.
Okay.
So I really,
during the last season.
but I started on TNT. Like, I never actually watched it when it aired. I only saw it on TNT and then DVDs. So I think if I had watched it when it was airing, I probably would have thought, but I hadn't thought about it because by the time I really didn't.
Yeah.
Are there bands that you wish would have been on it?
I have just a few. Well, I would have liked to see Disturbed on there, even though it might be a little too heavy for P3. But they always had posters for Disturbed in the club, like in the back room. So I'm like, oh, Disturbed. Because I was a big fan of them. I still am. I'm like, I would have liked to see them on here. They could have done maybe a gentler song like Prayer or something. Because I think of when Inside Unseen when Piper and Leo are like making out and Leo has his shirt off and Peter's like, ah! I'm like, Disturbed sign.
I don't know what's happening there, but there's Disturbed posters all over the place.
Yeah. I think they had an REM one too, but it was.
Speaking of posters, there was a Glenn Phillips one. So my friend is a huge Glenn Phillips fan, and so I always noticed that one because of her. So I took a picture and I sent it to her like on the screen, like, hey, look. But yeah, so that would have been a fun one.
Yeah. And then I would have liked probably Balomingo. They're on the soundtrack. They sing the New Favorite Day. Because they have a few people from that soundtrack where they appeared on P3, but I would have loved to hear that song. It's beautiful. I think that'd be great. That song does play in the Valley of the Dolls episode in like it's the opening cityscape song.
It's so funny. I've forgotten. So I watched the streaming ones so much more because
so you don't have to see the real music.
So I forget what the real song is. I have the DVDs that have the real songs, but I watch it most. So it's my Charmed is what I put on when I work out. That's how I rediscovered it. So I had kind of stepped away from it for a bit because when I broke up with my ex, it was kind of tied to him. So I stepped away from a bit. But what brought it back was I was at the gym and it was on TV and like all the feelings just rushed back. And so it's what I like, what I put on. So I have a treadmill at my house and I have a TV. So I'll stream it on Peacock. So I forget what the original songs are because I hear the streaming songs so much.
Right. And I don't know if I've ever really watched it on streaming, like not like all the way through, maybe occasionally. So I almost don't know the streaming songs at all. So it's funny. But
and a lot of them are random and they don't fit. And you're like, what is happening here? This doesn't make sense. Why did you pick this song? All right.
Because like what I think about what would the one of your favorite moments with the Valentine's Day card, what song do they play for that? Is it something generic and random or
I don't even know. It probably is. I have to go back and look at the streaming. The funny thing is I don't even think I pay attention to the song because like I love that scene so much and I love the whole what happens.
Because I love the original song. I feel like the original song really makes that scene. It's like I will move heaven.
Not that.
Yeah, it's good. But you're right. It does play at the gym all the time. I remember when I would go to my gym. I'm like, Charmed is on. I would just sit there. I'm like,
yeah, it's on all the time at the gym. Well, it's on TNT. It's always TNT. So, and I'm sure other channels now too. But TNT did twice a day. So
there was an article written about like why Charmed is the best thing at the gym, and I should find that.
I think I heard that was true. I wasn't very agree with this wholeheartedly.
Yeah. But yeah, I would have liked those. Oh, you know what? We should talk about the layout a little bit of P3. Can you remember how like it's hard to kind of push it all together? But
I mean, I have it in my head. Like I have the bar, I have the stage, I have the little private area, the staircase. I mean, I have it in my head.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's like it's the stairs, then there's the bar area, there's the dance floor, and then little nooks where to sit. You know, those things. I feel like I'm gonna have to find like a Sims, like someone making the P3s in Sims and find that blueprint or whatever.
I don't know what the capacity. I feel like it'd be pretty small. Like capacity of that venue with those bands playing. I feel like it'd be pretty hard ticket to get. Right. And do you think they sold tickets? This is what I wonder. Did they like sell tickets, or was it just if you had a line up early? Or
that's yeah. Because you sometimes you do see a line out the door from the outside, but like, where are the tickets sold? Is it before or during? You know,
or do you just have to get in line and hope that you are one that gets in while the band is playing?
Yeah,
because it's not a capacity, right?
See, these are the important questions we need to know.
Important things that I'll never know because it really exists. But these are important questions.
But there was a part, like, I know you don't read the books, but there was a book that I read. It was the third book, Crimson Spell, where like a girl was like looking through the window at P3 of them sitting in there. I'm like, that's not possible. I'm like, where was she looking into? Like, the only thing that I could see that would have any kind of window would be like the back alley area, but you're not going to see into the where people are sitting out. So
I don't remember seeing any windows. So
yeah, so I was just like, but yeah, that's something.
yeah, I don't read any. I like the original. I pretend the whatever this other show is, it doesn't exist. So I am very stuck on the original and just what it was and nothing beyond what it was.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen any of the reboot at all, so I don't know. But
I pretend it doesn't exist. Like I
yeah,
forget it does until it gets brought up again. I'm like, oh, that thing's still there.
right. I was like, hasn't been canceled yet?
Oh
You
no,
know.
it's still. I know somebody asked me. They're like, oh, which Charmed? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, there's a new one. I'm like, oh, I forget that one exists. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm all for people liking what they like, and that's fine. But when people ask me, because I get that all the time on my social media, it's like, how do you like the new Charmed? I'm like, I don't know her. I don't know her.
Exactly. I don't know her. Nope. Don't know her. Don't want to know her. I'm good.
Yeah.
But, like I'm not against it. I just have no desire to watch it or acknowledge its existence. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's fine.
So, all right. I'm surprised. I have a list of all of the performances, all the bands that came to perform at P3,
Mhm.
and I'm surprised it's not longer, actually.
It's not that long because I was looking
Yeah.
at it to remind myself before I did this, like what my favorite moments were, and I was like, it's actually not that many. I mean, Holly had recently said that as Aaron, because Aaron Spelling's big thing was to have music on their shows, and so as he got older and kind of was more removed from the show, that the music became less. So you can definitely see it. It's really heavy. Seasons 2, 3, and then at 4, and then it starts dwindling as it goes.
Right. Yeah. So, do you have any of your any other favorite bands that played besides the Cranberries?
Well, so I was gonna mention I really like Bare Naked Ladies. Really like Bare Naked Ladies anyway. I've seen them multiple times, but I also really like the fact that Piper accepts Leo's marriage proposal during Bare Naked Ladies. So it's a good scene, and I really like them as a band.
Yeah, they were, something was very popular at the time. I remember them being just like, I like the Pinch Me song they sang. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
So I saw them. There's a big festival in Vegas called Petapalooza, and they used to get bigger bands. Now it's free, but you used to have to buy a ticket to the event. So they used to get bigger bands, and they had Bare Naked Ladies at the event. And one of my favorite things about Bare Naked Ladies is they do this thing where you shout. They want people to shout out words, and they make up a song based on these words that the crowd has shouted out, and that's like how they end their set. It was super fun, and so
That's
people
neat.
were shouting out like dog and poodle, and so they made this whole song up of pets, and it was really good. So I really
It's like, whose line is it anyway? Band edition.
yeah,
I love that.
they're very creative, and I really like the lead singer. I think he's a kind of a cool guy. I think he had his daughter performing at one of the shows I saw with them.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Let's see. I really liked Bare Naked Ladies. I really liked. Oh, who did I like? I liked Pat Benatar, obviously.
Yes.
And what's cool about Pat Benatar is she actually got to have like scenes besides her performance. She got to like have lines, and I'm like, that is neat.
Yeah, when the doorbell rings and Piper answers it, and and that's also the moment where you can see the true Holly excitement coming through as well. So it's like Piper and Holly, very excited that Pat Benatar is standing there.
Yeah. I don't remember what she's saying, but I remember as a kid watching it. Janice Robinson really like shocked me because that was like the first time I saw like a woman who was bald. I was like forced. I'm like, oh my gosh, women can be bald.
I don't remember what she's saying either. I was older at that point, so it wasn't as shocking to me.
Yeah. But yeah, that look was crazy. It was like, wow. And she had like this like feather boa and like heavy makeup. I'm like, whoa, she is like out there.
No, it always gave me, not that I call her a bird, but it always gave me like a very bird feel to it. Like I felt like she had some, I don't know, like a little newborn chick that hadn't grown their feathers yet. I don't know. Like that's the feel I got from the outfit she was wearing.
And I liked the Big Trouble Lots of Fun song in Fifth Halliwell by Rebecca Ryan.
Why can't I even think about that one right
It's Big Trouble, lots
Oh,
of
yeah.
fun. Or make
Yeah.
that a double, that thing. So I really like that. Of course, there's the iconic Michelle Branch,
now? Mm-hmm.
Centennial Charmed,
Yes.
which didn't she? I think she sang that on Buffy too, didn't she? I heard that she sang that same song on Buffy.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah,
about-
that's true. I don't know if I ever got that far, but I think she did. But yeah, you know who would have liked to see it play would be Eve 6 because I was obsessed with.
Yeah. Oh God, I haven't thought about Eve 6, and that would have been a good.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
he can sing his. When I put my tender heart on blood, I was obsessed with that song. I really was in like 5th grade, which is actually the year that Charmed started. Now that I think about it, interesting. Anyway,
They were, yeah, maybe it was too early. They're like,
too
"Oh,
early.
they're already past. We can't have them."
Yeah,
That was season 1 if P3 existed in season 1 instead of Quake.
yeah. We
Yeah.
did have our Drake perform in P3. Our Billy Zane.
Yes, I loved that performance. I love Billy Zane. I think he's so much fun. I think that him in that role was so much fun. I love that
Yes.
performance because they're all like, I should ask that story, like, because they all really look like, what is he gonna do? It was almost like no one really knew what was gonna happen because Billy Zane is kind of zany, I guess.
Zany to the max. Yeah, it was. I love it. Yeah.
Not that I've never heard of the band. I had never heard of the band before, but I really like in San Francisco when they're like, "This is an unusual band. What's the name?"
Orgy.
Because I still have never heard of this band, but that line is just classic.
Funny enough, the one of the people that used to watch Charmed with me at the time in like 99, 2000, she was actually a big fan of Orgy, so I knew who they were.
Okay.
They sing a song on the Zoolander soundtrack, I believe, actually too.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a cult following, I suppose. I don't know if they're still making music, but at the time they were kind of like a little underground, like.
hmm
But it is perfect for the San Francisco episode.
It's just a perfect line. Like I couldn't have. I wonder what came first. Like, did they write the episode and be like, we need a band that's going to fit with this, or was it already booked and they were like, okay, well, we're going to make the script work. Like, how did that? I need to know the order that happened.
Yeah. Oh, you know who else played Goo Goo Dolls?
Goo Goo Dolls.
Broadway is dark tonight. Yeah. Oh.
Yes, I was trying to remember what was happening in the scene.
I can't remember either. It was in Ex Libris, but I don't remember the
Yes.
P3 moment.
Libris. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what was happening. Like I was trying to remember. Oh, I remember. Sorry, just popped in my
Yeah.
head.
Okay.
Well, because Ex Libris is the episode where Dan finds out that Leo was married, and they have the big fight in P3.
Yes.
That's when he comes in at the end, and they talk. And Piper's like, "You have to tell me everything. You can't leave this stuff out." And then she's like, "I wonder how much Dan really knows." That was what happened during Goo Goo Dolls.
Yes, you're like the Piper Leo Dan like professional aficionado. I love that.
I think I'm just a Piper aficionado.
Yeah, sure. But I guess season 2 you said your favorite too, so it makes sense why you're all.
Season 2 is definitely. It's funny because I think season 3 and 4 are where Charmed really like molds and really like comes into his own. But season 2 is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think the girls' connection in season 2 is the strongest. Like you can just see that they're actually like enjoying being that. Like their friendship is strong in season 2 as well.
That's true. I can see that.
What is your ultimate like P3 favorite moment of all of P3?
My favorite ultimate moment. I don't know. I think it might be that Cranberries number we talked about. I did like when I think it might still be in Heartbreak City where Prue and Piper are like in line to go to use the bathroom.
Yes.
And they're talking. Yeah. And they're just having their sister moments, having the girl talks. I don't know. That was fun.
one of my favorites when they're holding hands and then the line moves and they shuffle down.
Yeah, right. It's just little things like that, or make it real and make it authentic.
Yeah. Heartbreak City is, I think that's why I like that episode so much, because there's those moments that are so cute and so real in that episode. But yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure, when they're waiting in line for the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Are there any bands that you didn't like from that?
I mean, there's bands I didn't really know. So it's not like I was like, oh, this is awful, but I just had no association and no direct connection to them.
There were a lot of bands I didn't know, especially for like a young kid at the time. I'm like, I don't know. The Donnas played, so the Donnas were pretty popular. They came in season 7.
I don't even think I knew who the Donnas were
Oh.
until, and I actually, I think through Charmed is how I discovered who they were.
I remember them because they sang the theme song for What I Like About You. Was it that popular? And they were in Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart.
Okay.
I was a weird kid, I guess. I don't know.
No, I probably was weird because I'm like, I didn't watch. I don't know. So I do this thing where I like what I like and I watch it a lot, but there's a lot of things I don't see because I watch what I like on repeat.
That's
and
true.
don't really branch out that much, which I guess I can quote things for you and be the aficionado, but I don't watch a lot of things too. So knowledge is very specific.
Yes.
But I do have to. One other favorite P3 moment is in Long Live the Queen with Piper getting drunk on whiskey. And
of course. I
mean, you can't not bring that up for P3.
Paige could see that Cole clearly had turned evil, and she tried to tell me over and over and over and over and over. Doesn't even seem like a word anymore. Yeah.
I said no pep talks.
And then, drinks and falls over and...
Ow.
Beautiful. Yes, we can't let that one go. That's true.
No,
Thank you for bringing that up.
I think I've kind of covered all. I think the only one I was gonna also bring up, which is more just because so they have all those like which sister are you quizzes, and I get Paige every single time, because I have an only child, and we have a lot of similar like quirkiness and artisticness and all that. So in Charmed again, the second, when she goes to the bar, when they're all sitting on the couch and she's like, does that mean I get free drinks now? And she's super awkward because now she has these sisters.
Right. She's like,
that would so be me. I'm like this only child. They're like, how do I act with sisters? I don't know. I've never had sisters. And when they sit and they're like, no, you can sit down. And so I always associate with that because I feel like that would so be me in that situation. Like I'm really happy to be sisters, but I'm super awkward and don't know how to act.
Yeah, something very, charming about that. I think having a little bit of a dorkiness and an awkwardness is, it keeps people grounded, and I like those moments. I'm drawn to people that are dorky, so it works.
See, this is why you wanted me on this podcast.
Exactly, kin.
Drawn to the dorky awkwardness that I
am. Yeah. I'm leaving out the sex at P3.
What, the sets?
The sex at P3,
I left that out too.
Yeah.
It's super awkward.
It's super awkward.
I don't need to go there, but yes, I thought about that. I'm like, I'm not bringing that.
Yeah. It's there in the ether, but we're not going to talk about it anymore.
No, we're just going to acknowledge it happened and move right along.
Exactly. So cool. That's what I got. Is there any place where people can find you or follow you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Now I have to think of my names here. Instagram is at CelineJN5 and Twitter is JanineCeline5.
And then you can find this podcast at Words of the Witches on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, or Words of Witches on Twitter. And email wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com if you feel like any questions, comments, concerns, because that's always there if you want to say something. All right. Well, thanks for joining me again. I'm so glad we got to talk. I'm sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll be around in the circle some more. So.
For sure. Comic-Cons to come.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Your destiny still awaits.